What is up there, everybody? C Red Sports here with a video I never thought I was going to make, but I am very happy to make. We have just got an announcement today that BYU and Coastal Carolina will be playing some college football against each other on Saturday. It will be a 4:30 p.m. game Eastern Time. It will be hosted at Coastal Carolina. BYU will travel all the way from Provo over to South Carolina to play this game. It's going to be an awesome game, and I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. And this was a game that was put together really quickly because Coastal had to cancel their game against Liberty. And so these teams are only having 3 days to prepare. Now this is going to be one of the biggest group of 5 games of all time, because BYU is ranked number 13th and Coastal Carolina is ranked number 18th. There's a really good chance that the winner of this game gets into the top 10. They vault right up there, and they're both good teams. And I'm really excited for this game. There's probably going to be quite a few points put in here, but I think the winner of this game is going to be the team that's able to prepare in the shortest amount of time. So the team that's going to be ready in 3 days, because they only had about 3 or 4 days at most to prepare for this game. So let's talk about some things that could affect the game. So quarterback play is very important. BYU has the edge there. Well, Zach Wilson, he has had 237 attempts for 2,724 yards, a 74.3% completion ratio. That is insane. That's really good. If this was a normal season, he'd probably be at 3,500, maybe 4,000 yards, but obviously it's not. For Coastal Carolina, their starting quarterback is Grayson Mccall. He has had 174 attempts for 1,747 yards, 67.2% completion ratio. So as you can tell, Zach Wilson is much better, and I do think he will actually make the Heisman ceremony. I don't think he'll win, but I think he'll make it. Should be noted that BYU does have a better backup quarterback as well, should injuries be a factor. With Baylor, Romney had 35 attempts, 261 yards, and a 68.6% completion ratio. That's also excellent. For Coastal, they have Fred Payton for 36 attempts, 283 yards, and only a 50% completion ratio. So as you can tell, BYU is a bit more loaded at the quarterback position. They have better play there. What about rushing yards? Interesting situation here. Coastal is running 4 running backs who all have over... Interesting situation. Coastal has 4 rushers, all at over 300 yards, but one of them is the quarterback, Grayson Mccall. He's been rushing for 365 yards and 74 attempts, so he does really like to tuck and run when things get bad. Meanwhile, Zach Wilson also likes to tuck and run, just not as much. He is third on the rushing depth chart, 191 yards and 51 attempts. They really like Tyler Algier. He has 118 attempts for 851 yards. This guy has big playmaking potential. They also have another guy who is at 61 attempts for 329 yards. So BYU, not as much of a rushing team as Coastal is. So we're probably going to see Coastal like to run the ball a lot more. But BYU is big in the receiving. They already have a receiver, Dan Mine, who is at 906 receiving yards, versus top receiver for Coastal at Javian High is at 682 yards receiving. So BYU definitely more receiving. In fact, even the second best receiver, Gummo Romney, is at 708 yards reception, even more than the top receiver for Coastal. So we're going to see BYU really try to sling this ball out. They like to do that. However, I noticed an interesting stat when I looked at the defensive stats, and that is that Coastal's defense has gotten a lot of sacks this year, and that could be kind of concerning. BYU has not gotten as many, and they've also not been able to press the quarterback. I've been watching a bunch of the Coastal and BYU games because I find other teams people don't talk about as much in the group of 5 to be quite interesting to watch. Coastal has had a better pass rush, which is really important for a pass-first team like BYU. So I do actually expect Zach Wilson to actually get sacked a couple times, which, by the way, happened in the UTSA game, and that game ended up being really close. BYU ended up just squeaking out of the win 27-20. And so, that being said, we need to get to my predictions. I do think that BYU's defense is better overall, and they will be able to stop the Russian attack, which is a big deal for Coastal, because then they will have to go to reception. While they can get the big plays, they're a lot like Clemson, where they either get the big plays or they just fall flat. So I think this could end up being a nice mid-score game, so with the 30s to 40s, could be, I guess that's higher scoring to be honest, but this could be an interesting game to watch. And my prediction really is, honestly, I think the 10-point line is about right for BYU. I think they will end up winning, I'd probably say 45 to 35. I think that's going to be the score. Maybe a little bit less, maybe like 42 to 31, something like that. But I do think the 10-point spread is about right. I do like BYU to win the game. But I think Coastal's going to stay competitive all the way through, and they might be able to keep it close on 10 points. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really wanted to cover because I thought this would be an interesting game to cover, not just the Nebraska games I usually cover, or the top 10 videos that we usually do. I want to do this, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the game. Have a great rest of the day. God bless.